Hey guys, MCU Collect here with another figure review. Next up is the Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, Sagat or Sagat, depending on how you pronounce it. You guys let me know down in the comments below, how do you pronounce it? When I was a kid, I pronounced it Sagat. As an adult, I'm like, it's probably Sagat, right? But I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments below. But here we have them. This is another deluxe figure, similar to that of Blanka, which I have right here, which I have already reviewed on the channel, which you may have seen. But I picked up Sagat from WonderCon. He was actually available, ready to be purchased at WonderCon. And since he has actually been found at Target stores. So, deluxe figure release, $29.99 at most retailers. I think Big Bad Toy Store was $34.99. But $29.99 for these deluxe figures. And you could just see, like, size-wise, comparing the boxes, that these guys are huge. I will do a side-by-side comparison of Sagat next to some of the other Street Fighter characters, so you could see the true height comparison. But just looking at the box, these deluxe ones are pretty massive. So looking at there, we see the Sagat sprite. Here on the side, you see country of origin is Thailand. Fighting style is Muay Thai. Look at the figure on the back and then the character selection and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and open this up. Let's get Sagat out of the package. Sagat, 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 Sagat. Let me know. Which one is it? Okay, and here's Sagat out of the package, and he is great. He's another banger. Like Jada Toys, at this point, they're just untouchable, unstoppable when it comes to making really good action figures. They don't produce a huge amount of action figures, but the ones that they do produce are top-notch, high quality, good paint apps, great articulation, really good price point. Like everything Jada Toys is doing is just really good, and I can't wait for them to potentially do Invincible figures later this year. But looking at Sagat, he just looks incredible. He's a big, beefy boy. The figure follows all of kind of what Jada Toys has been doing with all their action figure releases, right? An extra set of hands, so he's got fists out of the package, and then he's got these clawed hands here. Then he's got an extra head sculpt here, so you gotta have that showing his teeth, that kind of angry face there. And then we get an effect piece, and I have to look at what this one's called, because the only thing that I really remember of Sagat is the tiger uppercut. As far as the flame ball, the ball of flame, I don't recall what that one was or what it was called, so I'm gonna have to look that one up. But we also get the stand piece for that there, so that is really cool. And then the new thing here is none of the Street Fighter figures had done this before, but we actually got toe articulation on Sagat, which I think is important because one of his kind of poses, his fight ready pose, is he's actually got one foot up on his toes. So they did that this time here with this figure, which makes a whole lot of sense, because if you're going to pose him correctly, right, you got to have him on his toe, which you can do like that. So that's actually great that they did that. But let's go ahead and zoom in, get a closer look at the figure, and then we'll go over the articulation and see some comparisons. Okay, so here we have a close look, and I already swapped out the angry face in there, and that just looks really good. Skin tone wise, looks really good. There is some shading throughout the skin tone, as you can see in certain areas of the muscle tone. You can see some shading in there, just kind of a little flesh color in there. It looks pretty good. The scarring looks pretty good as well. He's got a scar there on his neck. He's got a scar there on his head there, and then of course you got the famous one across his chest, which is just nasty looking, right? All diagonal all the way across. And that looks really good, and it continues on even below the waist there that you can't really see, but when you lean it back, you could see it. Looks really good color wise. Everything about it looks really good. You could see the shading throughout, the muscle definition kind of throughout. He's got the arm wraps in there, and there's done in a bright white color. No weathering to it, which I'm a bit surprised. It looks like there may be a little bit of weathering or some shading on around the ankles. I guess I see some a little bit in the forearms as well, around the wrists, but not as much. There's a little bit. He's got his blue and red boxer shorts there. Yeah, and that's it. There is some discoloration, I guess, on the foot. So basically, the majority of the foot is white plastic where the wrap is, and then they painted in the skin tone. So you could see that the toes are the skin tone plastic, but then they painted in right there where that hinge is. So it does look a little bit off. We had seen that early on in wave 1 of the Jada Toys Street Fighter figures, but then they updated it with future waves as they apparently they had changed factories and made some differences. It looks a little bit funky in there. It's not anything to where it's going to bother me at all, but I know that, you know, people point that out in action figures a lot, and they don't like it when things don't match up. It's a small portion in there. It's not a big deal to me, but just a heads up, you guys may notice that, you know, it is there. So just, you know, kind of heads up on that. But that is the angry head. We're going to pop that off and we'll kind of look at the more straight, relaxed, stoic face there. And that looks really good. If I see this dude just staring at me, is all bad, right? Like, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be running the other way for sure. So he definitely looks intimidating. Looking at the fireball, and I think he just says tiger, tiger, like when he fires it off. So I guess that's all it is, but that's what we got there. But I've always just, you know, in my head, the first thing I think of is tiger uppercut, right? Probably the same for a lot of you guys. That's probably what, you know, first thing that comes to mind. But there is Sagat, and again, we've got those clawed hands there. But let's go ahead and check out his articulation. And again, Jada Toys knocks it out of the park. But I think one thing that's different on this guy is he does not have drop-down hips like most of the other ones do. Okay, so Sagat's articulation, I have to sit kind of far back because I got to get him in frame and everything, and gotta adjust a little bit. But Sagat can look all the way up with the, you know, the separate neck and everything on there. He can look all the way down, which is really good, and then you can actually get some nice pivot and tilt with the neck. You could do a full rotation on that neck, of course, so you can move it around any which way you need. The shoulder, you can get the arm to go straight on out like that, like so for a T-pose. Full rotation in there. You got that butterfly joint, so you can get the arm to cock back a little bit, you know, if he's getting ready to punch. Right, and then you can come forward, hinge it in for some decent crossbody there, which is great. You got the upper bicep swivel in there, double jointed pinless elbow, gives you that much bend at the elbow, which is quite nice. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge on the fist as well as the open hands there. We got the diaphragm cut and the ball joint waist. So just the diaphragm cut, you can get that much tilt. That's not even moving the lower torso piece. If you want to move the lower oh, I guess it is a little bit. Well, you know what? You don't get a whole lot of tilt on that lower torso. You get some, but that's tilting all the way to his right, that much there. So that is pretty good. I guess that's just kind of straight up, and then that diaphragm tilts, and then you could tilt it a little bit more, as you can see there. And then leaning back total, you can lean back really far, and then crunching forward is really far there, but then you kind of have this ugly look on the back because that diaphragm really can really shift forward in there. So you get that much movement there. So you can swivel at that diaphragm, but then you can also swivel at the waist, of course, so you can move around as needed as the ball joint waist. So you could, you know, you get a lot of good motion in there. No drop down hips on this guy. So no drop down hips, where we typically see that with all the other Jada Toy Street Fighter figures. But even still, look at that. Full on splits, don't even need the drop down hips or anything, which is great. So you can do that there. You can kick forward that far there, which is good. Leg doesn't really go back. You got a thigh cut inside the shorts, which is great. And then you got that double jointed knee, gives you that much bend there at the knee. Nice knee bend. You get an ankle swivel right at the top of the foot wrap, the ankle wrap, leg wrap, whatever you want to call it. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And again, you get the toe articulation for Sagat there. So really good articulation. So no drop down hips, but hey, they weren't even necessary because you could really still get him in to all the necessary poses. Okay, so let's go with the size comparisons. And here next to the Player 2 Chun-Li, I only have Player 2 figures out. Although Blanka, I guess, wouldn't be a Player 2. But you could see Sagat is huge. He's massive compared to the regular character. So this is the female character, Chun-Li, one of my favorite characters. Another one of my favorite characters is the Player 2 Target exclusive Guile, as you can see there. And again, Guile is big and beefy, and Sagat is still massive compared to Guile. Like, it's kind of insane. And then here we got the Player 2 Big Bad Toy Store exclusive M. Bison. And you can see M. Bison's, M. Bison's a big dude. And still Sagat towers over him. We've got the WonderCon / Jada Toys Next Level Player 2 Fei Long. And Sagat is just towering over him as well. But we got Blanka, which is the other figure in this deluxe wave. And Sagat is still bigger, still taller, maybe not as massive as Blanka, but you could see this is why that they are both deluxe figures, because they are just much larger in scale compared to the other characters. So that's why they get the bigger boxes. That's why they do have the price point that is $5 more than the others, but well worth it in my opinion. And of course here I have him doing the tiger shot, is I believe what it is officially called. Although when he fires it, he just says tiger, tiger. So, you know, there we go. But the stand, it's a much taller stand that we typically get with the Jada Toys figures, because Sagat is much taller, so we need that extra little bit of height to that stand, so you get that tiger shot effect piece going there. So that is really cool. A lot of fun to play around with and pose out. And so if you're going to display it this way, you could do it, or if you're trying to create certain photography, things like that, you can make it work, which is awesome. Okay, so I'm setting up for the tiger uppercut, and you can kind of, you know, as he's getting ready to make the motion, like obviously, like if I was a stop motion guy, this is probably how I would kind of start it off or whatever. So you can kind of crouch him down, which is good. So the toe articulation really comes in handy here with Sagat, so you could be able to do that. So now let me go ahead and try to get him into the actual uppercut pose. Okay, I'm doing it, but you know what? I don't know if it just really looks right in action figure form. It just looks kind of funny to me. Maybe, you know, just certain angles, how I have to have it, you know, can make do. But, you know, think tiger uppercut, and then he, you know, he spins around, which is really cool. And you would have like the guy, you know, flying back. So I can't really get him in the air to be able to do that, but again, use your imagination. A whole lot of fun. Okay, and then Sagat wins, I think, is actually how it goes. So I guess officially Sagat, not Sagat. But again, I've heard people call him Sagat, so you guys let me know which one you think is correct. A laughing head sculpt would have been really cool, because when you win with Sagat, he kind of does the cross arm pose, which you can't completely do. It's kind of difficult to do, but he would kind of stand there and he would kind of lean back and he would laugh. So you could do that there. But man, whole lot of fun. Again, Jada Toys absolutely killing it in the action figure game. So there was no doubt in my mind that Sagat was going to be a really good action figure. Again, these are starting to hit Target now. Be on the lookout, but I'll have pre-order links in the video description below if you're looking to pick this up. I got mine again at WonderCon, and I was very happy to be able to get him early, so I don't have to chase him down or wait for the pre-orders to come in. But yeah, well worth it. He is absolutely amazing. Jada Toys absolutely killing it. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my review of Blanka or my review of the Target exclusive Player 2 Guile. Those are the latest Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers offerings. Awesome figures. Can't wait to get some more. Vega, I think, is going to be coming soon-ish. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Absolutely loving them. You guys give me your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.